Welcome to the Money Pig podcast, presented by Goodwin Investment Advisory, where our mission is to lead you to financial pig, peace, independence, and generosity. I'm your host, Tim Goodwin.
All right. Well, welcome back to the Money Pig podcast. We are super excited to have two guests with us today. We have somebody you're familiar with and somebody you're maybe not as familiar with. So we've got the one and only Justin Pitcock, Elmer Fudd, with us today. Say hello, Justin.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. And we also have one of our amazing clients, John Pratt, on the phone with us here today. How's it going, John?
Great. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. John, where are you calling in from today?
I live in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Yeah. How often do you get snow down there, John?
Never.
Never.
The white stuff. The white stuff is more sand based.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Big difference, but still white and still awesome. Difference. Yeah, in a different way. Yeah. So, so before we jump into the conversation of kind of diving a little bit on how Goodwin Investment Advisory compares to Fisher Investments, I thought it might be interesting for the audience to maybe learn something new or interesting about you. So, Justin, I'll have you get started while John's thinking about something. What's something interesting you could share with the audience?
Oh, man. I think just about all of my clients know I'm an avid outdoorsman. I love to hunt, fish, backpack. I've got two boys that are growing up. They love to get out there with me too. The youngest is just turned 2, and he already wants to go. And aside from hunting and fishing, he got a little chainsaw, like a little toy chainsaw. I mean, it's
your 2-year-old.
My 2-year-old.
A chainsaw.
It's battery powered.
Only at the Pitcock house, everybody.
He loves that thing. He puts it to bed at night and puts like a sheet over it. He makes sure that it's tucked in before
and warm.
He goes to bed.
His chainsaw.
His chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's
if anybody wondered if that was really Justin Pitcock's son, they would know. Yeah, of course, he's sleeping with his chainsaw. So,
yep.
Oh my gosh,
that's right.
There's like some kind of plastic thing that's got.
Oh man, it's legit. It looks just like a Husqvarna chainsaw. It's battery powered. It makes the noise. It's got a little chain that moves when he squeezes the trigger. He walks around the house trying to saw everything up. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty adorable. You could build a little TikTok channel off of that, and that thing would go viral. So
it's great.
That's awesome. Yeah. So John, did you grow up sleeping with your chainsaw tucked in the little blanket in your bed?
No, I grew up on a 500-acre potato farm, and so we did have chainsaws and grease guns and all kinds of things that you would think wouldn't be toys, but they ended up being toys.
Yeah.
Imagine having a grease gun fight across the barnyard, against your brother and friends and things like that. That
that sounds fun.
Are we lighting this grease on fire, or what is this, a blowtorch?
You can shoot these things honestly 50 to 80 feet.
Oh wow!
So come home and your mother would be not too happy with.
Yeah, I would imagine not.
Sounds like a horrible cleanup.
Did y'all make potato guns?
No, we didn't at the time, to be honest with you. We threw tomatoes at each other, grease, and when somebody hits you with a tomato really hard and it stings, and you look at your chest and it's got this red stuff all going down, you're wondering, how real is that?
Yeah. Did I get shot or did I get hit with a tomato? Oh, no, you just got hit with a tomato.
That's a perfect projectile.
John, did you guys have any contests and keep track during the harvest of this is the biggest potato we ever grew?
The potatoes were specifically designed. They were called Chippewas. They were designed for potato chips. So you're right. Okay. The biggest watery potatoes you could find, the big white watery potatoes.
The better.
It's because they would slice thin and turn into pretty good chips. I guess companies like Lay's and Wise and all that kind of stuff is what we sent them to. So
wow,
and that's awesome.
Yeah.
How old were you when you were living on that farm?
It was my uncle and grandfather's farm, and so I was starting to drive tractor and truck at 7. At 11, I got stopped by a New Jersey state trooper for driving this big 10-wheel truck down the road, and the little flap that was, it was holding the string beam the flap was open. So all he was trying to do is stop me to tell me, hey, you need to shut that flap. You're spilling beans on the road.
Oh, no.
And my mission, if I chose to accept it, was to deliver those beans 1 mile to Seabrook Farms, which is also in southern New Jersey, where I grew up. And so I didn't make the mission complete. I was turned around and sent back to the farm, and I heard some words I hadn't heard at 11 years old, from the trooper to my uncle, about me driving the truck. So,
oh my goodness.
It was fun. It actually was a great lesson in life in terms of work ethic and all that. I just absolutely, always was working. I was working 2 or 3 jobs, on the farm, cutting the cemetery,
of course.
and just doing stuff that, money was never an issue for me because I earned it.
Right.
It was only $3 an hour or $5 maybe at best. But
oh my gosh.
I had plenty to buy my toys with,
right.
bikes and all that stuff.
Well, you're probably working so much too. I feel like when you're working on the farm, you're kind of available 24/7. You're almost working.
There's
always
really work to do.
Yeah.
And I think it builds and so later on in life, I got into IBM and became over time the head of their service division. And so this whole service model or concept of servicing people or whatever, you can imagine, in the computer industry is no different than others. Every time the phone rings, there's usually a challenge or a problem to go solve, right? And so I got used to doing that a lot of my life. And so,
man, tell you,
so
farm grows up that character and can translate to most of life, to a lot of life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It does.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing that story. And does that pull up in a background check for you now, John? 11 years old, I was pulled over as a juvenile.
I hope not. It's just,
oh my gosh.
The worst thing you can tell a young man or a young boy is, you're not going to get your driver's license until you're 21 because you did something silly like that, And so I was pretty straight and narrow from then on.
Oh, wow. That was quite a life shaping, day. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I've actually got a question, John, for you and Justin. What do you call a wealthy couple who still clips coupons? Investmates.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the corny dad joke for you there, John. I always got to include that. That's how you know it's an original Money Pig episode podcast. So I thought that was pretty funny. So, anyway, so today we really want to kind of dive in and take a deeper look into Goodwin Investment Advisory versus Fisher Investments. And, full disclosure, whether you're aware of Fisher Investments or not, they are really a global firm. They have a strong presence in the U.S. And so they're a very, very large firm. We are a small boutique firm. So these are some of the differences. But if I kind of start with why, as far as our topic for discussion today, why are we talking about this? The firms are very, very different, and we both have some similarities, and then we have some things that are stark contrast. They have a very strong marketing arm and efforts, and they just don't have that great of a reputation online. I don't talk to a lot of folks that have a great long-term experience with them. Some do, and I'm sure some are having a great long-term experience with Fisher, but we tend to attract a different kind of client, a different kind of individual. And so often when we clients are looking at potentially hiring our firm, they may have been approached by Fisher. They may have reached out to Fisher through their other online efforts. And so they're comparing and contrasting us to Fisher, so much so that we actually created a site on our website that helps folks to compare us to Fisher. We don't think that we're always the best option for folks, but we certainly want people to be better informed, because they make better decisions. And in full disclosure, John, your daughter, Tara, works with us. She was actually one of the folks that worked with was the project lead on that Fisher versus Goodwin Investments thing. But we're grateful for you joining us today, because I think that was maybe part of your story. So maybe you could share a little feedback about that.
Sure. I've moved around the country, 17 times. So I had a long-term financial advisor in the North Georgia mountains. He was based out of Jasper, not too far from you guys. and I thought everything was going fine. And he and I actually became, friends and everything. But what I found out in these, relationship models is that, companies would come to him and try to push, high commission products and platforms and things like that. Yeah. And I saw that, and I would ask him about that. And he said, "Oh no, this is the best insurance platform to be on right now. And we need to move from this to that." And so he would just constantly move me around based on, I found out later, that what was the best commissionable products for him.
Right.
And so, when you experience that, it's kind of like when you have a really bad meal, you try not to go back to that restaurant,
Right.
You probably don't. So I started out, with that experience. And so I was looking for, an alternative to that. And especially moving around the country, I thought, well, maybe a larger firm, like Fisher would make
more sense.
And my goodness, they market the heck out of themselves. In fact, they seem to spend so much time on marketing and everything. It just, as I went through that process, it felt less and less human, less and less personal, less and less focused on, about me and what I was trying to do. It was, we had to kind of get in line for when your next turn in the barrel is to talk to one of our people, and I thought that was, I just thought that was, it wasn't in alignment, guys, with what I was looking for. And so, yes, your marketing person, reached out to me and said, "Hey," raised their hand and said, "Hey, we've got a pretty interesting model here. And it's a great family-based team. And even if they're not all part of the same family, they're part of the same business family." And I could see that. And, so I kind of look for that, back, you might find this interesting, guys, but when I, was running that division for IBM about service, we published an ad one time on TV, national TV. Now, this is probably back in the 80s and when computers were breaking a lot or whatever. And it said, IBM service, all I want from you is a good night's sleep. And before the My Pillow guy became popular, a guy walked out on stage and handed the customer a pillow, because really that's all you want from a service organization is you want them to do their job, service you well, give you options, look at alternative products. And they just, my experience with coming to Goodwin is that's what I feel like is like, hey, we've got some new initiatives going on here. Just want to run them by you. What do you think? And so that you're balancing out your portfolio at the same time you're being well served. And I guess, once whether it was the farm or whether it was IBM service or then later on in life, I managed, I was a managing director in a CEO, kind of advisory firm, which is a little bit like a financial firm, only you're trying to help CEOs grow profitably, make good decisions. And I just found it was a similar theme with Goodwin at the time.
That's awesome. I'm gonna ask a few questions about the comments you made. So I'll point the first one to Justin. So Justin, John was talking about his previous advisor, but before Fisher actually, about the commissions and the products and what happens with that conflict of interest when an advisor is incentivized to maybe sell the most highest paying commission product. So how do we handle that here at Goodwin Investment Advisory? What makes us different than that firm?
We're fiduciaries, and we don't get paid by the funds that we invest in. And so there's no conflict of interest. We want to truly invest in the best investments that are available because they don't pay us a commission. They earn a higher rate of return, hopefully. And that's what we want for our client accounts.
Yeah, that's great. And often I still run across firms, even like ours, but they are what's called dual registered, that they can sell products and they can manage money. And so for fee only, but they also have the products, the commission-based stuff. And so they're called hybrids in the industry. And I think it's unfair to clients to have to worry about both sides. Are you getting fee only and I'm getting fiduciary advice, or am I getting suitability advice on this product? And so we agreed from the very beginning that we wouldn't be hybrids. It wouldn't be duly registered. We are just only fiduciaries. We are fee only advisors. who are monetarily motivated to act in your best interest. There's certainly a small conflict there. We talked about that on previous podcasts where like, the client's like, hey, should I roll over my 401k or not to a managed IRA? Well, we stand to benefit from that, but we try to, help with some objective advice there. John, let me ask a question back to you about something you said when you were talking to Fisher. You were like, it just wasn't what I was looking for, right? What were you looking for?
Well, to be honest with you, I've hired a bunch of people in my life. I've had thousands of people work for me and teams. And so I always looked for a team of people that were verb based, not noun based. And what I mean by that is, they actually felt like they needed to be doing something all the time, like Goodwin. And then the Fisher was more, let me tell you about us as a team. And it was more noun based in terms of, this is what we have. This is what you can go find out. This is, it was all on me, and I could talk to administrators, but I couldn't get to, someone that made decisions or someone that was, kind of long-term looking out for my personal interest, and then could relate it to Tim and Justin, could relate it to what was going on in my life at the time. Maybe I was just headed in retirement. Maybe I was not going to have the same portfolio, right? And Fisher, having to have half a billion or all kinds of money, it was just a different model, and it was more fitting into their model than it was, how about me as the model? Are you looking at me at all? Right? And so, I know it sounds, simple, but I just didn't feel like, there was any time listening to me rather than talking to me,
Interesting. Yeah, that's a lot of the research shows that in the industry, that the clients that leave their advisor and go somewhere else is because they don't feel heard and understood. Right. They feel like the advisor's talking over their head, doesn't understand who they are, their goals are, their objectives, which I guess gets a little surprising for here at Goodwin, because I feel like that's just how we're wired. That's how we start. That just feels natural. But, something that you're saying that I put in a soundbite years ago is we want our clients to feel known, not like a number, right? And when and the same thing, Fisher's not the only one. And it's hard when you get big and you scale and you're at a big bank or a big broker dealer or a big RIA like Fisher. It's hard to feel known. You feel more like a number. Like you said, I got to get in the queue to talk to somebody, So here, all our advisor, Justin's your advisor, John. We haven't said that clearly yet so far, but, Justin's a certified financial planner. All of our advisors that are the primary point of contact for the client are certified financial planners. Based on our research, that's not necessarily always the case with Fisher. And one thing, and I think, John, about this too, especially with Tara working with us, is that our reputation, my reputation, the team's reputation is just so important to me. You know what I mean? It's just that reputation, so priceless. I can't buy it. And I can't get my way. I can't buy myself out of a bad reputation either. So like having that good reputation is so very important, and not the reputation that I articulate to other people, what I hope it is. It's what the clients have said about us and what they've said publicly online. Right. And so, we do have clients that have left us reviews online, at Google and at Yelp. If they left a bad review, we could not hide it. Right. It's one of the reasons we can't accept reviews on LinkedIn, because you can publish them or hide them. So we can't do that. It has to be in a third party system that whatever they said goes. We can't change anything about what it says or how it's displayed. So we're, if you go to the website, goodwininvestment.com/Fisher versus Goodwin, and that'll be in the show notes of this episode, you're going to see this comparison of ratings and reviews of us versus Fisher. And it actually dates it, and we've got disclosures here and all this kind of stuff. But as of the date, which was actually September 11th, 2024, we had 178 all 5-star reviews on Google, and Fisher had only 6 reviews. Which is crazy because they're enormously bigger than us, but their average rating is 2.5 stars. If we go over to Yelp, we don't have as many reviews on Yelp. We've only got 8, but they're all 5 stars. Fisher does have a lot more reviews on Yelp. They have 132, but their star rating is 1.8. Yeah. And so go ahead, John. Go ahead.
You can't fix that. I mean, the only way you fix it is internally, never to lose it. So
over time, you have to replace that.
Lead of their leadership. That's right. Your leadership extends through Justin down through your whole team, and everybody acts like you do, right? And if that's the case, that's you're going to be long standing on the right side of that equation, right?
Yeah. It's going to take them a long time to write this. They've got to look internally. I'm going to use Comcast as an example. Comcast used to, like, my friends used to joke about Comcast like they were the devil or something, providing the internet service and all that kind of stuff. They were just this horrible company. People didn't like dealing with them, but they kind of had a monopoly in our area. But they eventually figured out that they had such a crappy reputation, and they did a major overhaul. I remember one time I went to a Comcast, like, drop off an old receiver, and they were like opening the door for me. Like, there was this bucket of like, hey, take some candy while you're here. Thanks so much. What's the feedback? I get proactive texts now. So it seems that they have done like what you're talking about, John. They would take a change in leadership, a change in strategy, and a lot of internal changes. And then you have to convince your customers you've made a change, start getting that reputation to outweigh it. So I'll breeze over a couple other things here about comparing us back and forth. Just talking about the sheer size. I mean, Fisher's got over 150,000 clients. We've got like about 700. So very, very, very different there. And if you read our reviews, you'll see it's kind of interesting. You could even, I think Gemini and other AI tools may even say, hey, this is generally what these reviews are saying. We're generally known for very low pressure sales as far as becoming a client, as far as adding accounts or whatever. We're very low pressure. We want our clients to make informed decisions. We want to help them guide it. And like you said, Fisher's kind of known for high pressure. They really do stay on you. I've had some people tell me before that sometimes they think they're better at marketing than they are at managing money. Now, again, full disclosure, they're probably good at managing money, and it depends all the time on your risk tolerance and the timing. But they do spend a lot of money on marketing, which is why they're so well known. We currently have 6 advisors. Fisher has 1,574. So we are definitely more of that independent, like you're saying, John, like family run, family feel, community boutique. I say that, but we have clients in 15 states. You're a great example. We're headquartered in Georgia, but that doesn't stop us from having clients in other states either. So, what would you go ahead?
Technology enables you to be anywhere.
Exactly.
Days, right? Whether it's doctors or lawyers or whatever, right? So it's just, and people, my experience, Tim and Justin, is people stay, in my opinion, too long with their financial planner because maybe their father had this guy or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the same with accountants. And yet there's people that are more contemporary in the marketplace. It's clear to me after doing the research that, you and Justin and the team was definitely keeping up with what the trends were, where we should be going. It's where the puck is going, not where it's been.
Trying to be proactive.
Exactly. Your connections were current and contemporary. And there is a big, relationship between what we do in accounting and taxes and how we invest, right? And all that. And that's
absolutely.
I enjoyed, looking at the Justin's taking me through that on, every 6 months, we kind of relook at that. Are we on the right path to making sure we're optimizing those things? Right. And, you can actually make too much and shoot yourself in the other foot when it comes to taxes.
Absolutely.
Right? So I just feel like it's a full circle. And again, if I wanted to sit around and do EFTs myself and all that stuff, it would be a different model, but I never want to do that. You don't
have to worry about it.
Guess ourselves. You don't have to worry about it. That's right. Just grab that pillow and go take a nap.
All right. Well, let's all kind of get a little final say in this Fisher versus Investments thing. One thing that I will mention is that their fees, again, this is all as of September 11th, 2024, and we'll update this from over time. But at that time, Fisher's fee started at 1.5 and over time would decrease to 1%, but doesn't ever drop below 1%. Our fee starts at 1.42 right now. So it starts at a little bit lower than their 1.5. But once our clients have $1.6 million or more, they are below, keep moving below that 1%. So I think on the fee side, there is a substantial enough difference there where Fisher doesn't ever charge less than 1%. And we certainly do when the total assets for that family are below 1.6. Justin, anything you'd like to add to the Fisher versus GI combo?
I think results matter. Like,
yes.
Fisher's great at talking.
Right.
And
it's all about outcomes.
It's about the outcomes, right? So we've got a very in-depth process that's, beyond just the 6 advisors here on the team on how we manage money. We partner with a team at Fidelity that keeps us up to date with their capital market assumptions. We work with them on the fund research so that the ETFs and the mutual funds that we use, those top-rated funds that are in our client portfolios, they get reviewed every quarter. So we're on top of the investments. They're not just, some investments that got put in somebody's portfolio. And then actually heard this from a guy that was that's considering hiring our firm right now. He's like, yeah, my current advisor, I feel like he just, the portfolio is static until I go see him. Then he's like, what do you think about switching this out or that? A whole year passes by, nothing changes until that meeting, right?
Right.
No, but, for our clients, it's ongoing. Like, we want to make sure that, we're always on top of it. We're forward looking. And then, we've been talking about it this whole time, but you really get a family feel with us. You're not a number. You're going to be able to call me directly if I'm your advisor, or, whoever your advisor is on the team. You're going to be able to call them directly. You don't have to call, their assistant or whatever, and then get scheduled out 2 or 3 weeks to have a 30-minute phone call with them. Right. That's not how it works here. And then, you said this, but I'm a certified financial planner. The other advisors on the team are certified financial planners as well.
Right.
And then
that references back to what John was saying about how much he appreciates the help with taxes and tax strategy. Well, we're CFPs. We're well versed in taxes.
Right. That's right. We've got the education, the expertise, the experience, and then a big thing that when most people change advisors and they're interviewing us as one of the options, they say, well, I'm tired of working with the old advisors because I never hear from them. So we are very intentional about communication with our clients.
Reaching out. That's true. That's great. John, any last words there on your side?
I think the other thing, you guys selected Fidelity as a great back office for you guys.
That's right.
I just happen to have Fidelity as part of my pension.
Oh, that works out well.
And so they manages that. So everything's on the same page. And I don't ever find myself trying to contact all those different departments without your team, right? And so in the past, I was with this gentleman up in North Georgia, and we get on these conference calls, and he'd pull me in and said, you tell them what you need, and you tell them this, and and
my.
It was just, I felt like, so what do I have you for? Right. And so, anyway, so
that's great. Early on, John, not to interrupt. Sorry. I was just going to say in reference to that, we do try to do that. White glove, 5-star, it's all about the customer experience and how we're making the customer feel. And from very, very beginning, I told my staff, I said, never ask a client for a piece of information you already have. Do not ask them to write their address in a form. Do not ask them to write their phone number in an email in a form. If we already have it, then you fill it out. And the goal is always to get signature ready documents or just to handle it for the client. There are some things we can't handle, but we're going to try to provide guidance. Call this number, say this thing, or I can be on the phone when you call. But if we can handle it like we can with Fidelity, we're independent from Fidelity. We choose them as our primary custodians. We could go somewhere else. But like John's saying, they have really good support, and a lot of folks are used to them because of their 401k or their pension. And so they log into what they usually were logging into before, and now they see their accounts there too, which is pretty cool.
Well, even it goes, like I said, your leadership, Tim and Justin, kind of go right down into the entire team. So when I'm looking to, move some money around because tax season's coming, I got to pay more, your team is so responsive. And then on top of that, they ask questions like, well, should we not put a little bit more in the tax side of, this time or whatever? And they're absolutely correct. It's just, I wasn't thinking of that, So even down to the people that are pushing buttons and executing, trades for you, they're thinking about the client.
Yeah. So that client-centric approach makes a big difference, and having folks that are educated and know what's going on. So, well, John, we thank you, man, so much. Thanks for jumping on. We appreciate it. Love the story about growing up on the potato farm. That's great. Fighting with grease guns. I'm never going to lose that image in my mind. Getting pulled over at 11 years old, driving a tractor.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're really, really grateful for you. Thank you so much. And hey, thanks for raising an amazing daughter. We love having Tara on the team. She's incredible.
Well, I hope that, this whole leadership thing and being a servant leader, which is your firm, it's clearly, if I look it up in the dictionary, your firm shows up there under servant leadership.
That's funny. We pay a lot of money to get it in there, John. Yeah, thanks.
Well, it kind of goes around. What goes around goes around. So I
That's
think
so
it's
kind.
great. So no, appreciate you guys. Thanks for the opportunity to provide some input.
Awesome.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Thanks so much. Justin, here, before we sign off, we officially let go of Mr. John Pratt there. There was one concept. I know we're a little bit long, but I just want to share about this one last concept, which I always feel a little funny talking to a client about. So we'll save this till after John pops up. And that is this philosophy around here. It's like our marching orders. It's our motto. Okay. Angela's sitting across the table from us. She's the one that executes on this really more than anybody else. And what is that motto?
Justin? We care more.
We care more. Okay. Yep. And, I remember, I don't know if it was COVID or if it was before that. I felt like we were all like on some walk or we were all talking as a team on a retreat or something. And I said, who do we care more than what? Right. And so we had this great conversation as a team. And what the team come up with?
More than you would expect.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know if we care more than Fisher. That's up to the eyes of the beholder.
I think so.
We think so. Yeah, put my money on it. But I would say, John, do you think we care more than Fisher? It's not up to us. There's a lot of great financial advisors out there. There's a lot of great companies that care, but we do try to care more. How do we show that? Or how does Angela across from the table end up showing that a lot for our clients?
So Angela creates these powerful moments. And it's when a client has a milestone, maybe they're celebrating becoming a millionaire or paying off the mortgage, or maybe it's something sad, like, they've gone through a tough time. She would send a box of sunshine. And that's
BOS, box of sunshine.
It's something to let our clients know that we're there with them, that we're thinking about them, we care. And so I think that goes a long way. And then just how we can, help with finances and planning as these different sort of, life experiences happen. But, we try to live it with our clients.
Yeah. It's like it's like a physical, tangible version of empathy. It's like we want to share in the joy and share in the pain with our clients. And we're very faith-based, a lot of Christian values amongst us. Like we want to try to be the hands and feet of Jesus. We want to try to, let our clients feel the love. We can put our soul and all of our effort into, their investments and their planning, but we also want to just kind of connect with our clients as real people and as fellow brothers and sisters, and sharing those joys and sharing those pains as well. So I think it's like you said, it's not something we advertise. We don't really try to say, this is why you should hire us. It's something we're just like, hey, when you get here, we hope you feel that way, that you're known, that you're not a number, that we care about you and your family, your goals, and that we're helping to guide you towards making better and better financial decisions. Like John was saying, it's helpful when we say, well, what about this or what about that? He's like, that would be better. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So if that didn't pick up in the microphone, Angela was just shouting. I keep telling she needs a mic too. We celebrate that as a team. So we bring it up when we meet on Mondays. Hey, what milestones were celebrated and how many people were tired? Angela literally has a box out in the front that'll be shipped out to as a thank you, not as a thank you, as a wow to clients who just told us they paid off all their consumer debt for years. This is the first time they're debt free.
Wow.
And
awesome.
And we sent them something to say, hey, we see you. We're celebrating with you. Welcome to the club. Cheers to your future. So, well, Justin, thanks so much for coming. In true form, I always like to sign off with something that we're grateful for. So as we're thinking of something, you're thinking of something you're grateful for, I will share that I'm grateful for trucks, just trucks, just period. Mostly my truck though. Then I know you have a truck, but my truck's in the shop right now and I don't have my truck. And now I'm on week 2 of not having my truck. And I'm like, I really want my truck. Damn. Yeah. Well, one of my daughters is learning how to drive and, she's broken my truck a little bit on a mailbox. So
Dang.
it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, just grateful for the truck that I don't have right now. What about you?
I'm grateful for snow days.
Right.
Yeah.
Hoping to get that tomorrow.
They already announced it.
Okay.
School's closed.
There's a snow day. Yeah. And whether the snow comes or not, the kids are off. Yeah. So
it'll probably rain.
But. Yeah. Anything but ice, right? All right. Well, Justin, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming as always. Thanks everybody for listening and having a great day. And feel free to go to the show notes and click on that Fisher-verse Goodwin Investment Advisory kind of. There's a table there, and there's some more explanation. If you're interested, reach out to goodwininvestment.com and schedule an intro call. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Money Pig Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. To stay updated on new episodes, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you found value in today's discussion, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about the topics we covered, feel free to visit us at goodwininvestment.com and reach out. This episode is produced by evance.net. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, a solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles, nor as a basis for making any financial decisions. Goodwin Investment Advisory is a registered investment advisor with the SEC, CRD number 131193. Please note that the host and or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investments mentioned in this podcast. Investments carry risk and are not guaranteed unless stated otherwise. We strongly recommend consulting with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategies discussed in this episode. Lastly, past performance is not indicative of future results.